Hello and welcome to Knitcraft Podcast. Today we will talk about a finished object, a new start, and cross-stitching. Hello and welcome to Knitcraft Podcast. My name is Courtney and you can find me under the same name, Knitcraft Podcast, on Instagram. And today I have a fun episode for you guys. We will be talking about a finished object, a whip, and new start that's a test knit, and even cross-stitching. So I hope you like this video, and if you do enjoy this content, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, all the things. So let's just jump right in. I am so excited that I finished my what's for now called a Noro test by Alicia Plummer. It's called that because she used Noro Silk Garden for hers, and I finished it. So here it is. It's blocked and it's woven in. The only thing I haven't done is taken pictures, and we're having a rainy day because I was kind of hoping to do it today, but it'll have to wait because we're actually having a couple of rainy days here. So there it is. I love it. It fits great. I have a lot to talk about. I have a random thing of green. I don't even know where that came from. It's like green thread. But let's talk about this. The yarn, let's start there. Noro was a little bit out of my budget, especially since it's a test knit. A lot of people for test knits actually stash dive. I don't have a well enough stash to impromptu stash dive for a pullover in particular. So I have to most of the time go with more budget friendly, since it's like I need the yarn, I need it now. Sorry, my hair. So I went with Cascade Wave, a Superwash Wave Aran. It's a mouthful. In the color 110, which is graphite. And it did this fun, it's like barber pulling striping, marbled, all of the things. I think it did a really cool effect. It went from a silvery gray to charcoal gray to almost black. So I like how that worked out. My sleeves don't match, even so I used a new skein for each one, but the striping didn't match. But I think there's so much going on in this sweater that it doesn't really matter. It blocked beautiful. It's very drapey. For an Aran, it doesn't feel too heavy. So I like that. I used 6 skeins. That is 1,320 yards. I used 1,292 yards. So I had 2 of these little nuggets left, one from each sleeve. So I used almost all my yarn. What else? I knit the size 3, which is a 47-inch bust. I'm a 36-inch bust. I haven't remeasured since I had a baby. I'm probably a little bigger right now, but my weight gain is all in my tummy right now, so I think I may still be a 36-inch. But anyway, since this is intended with 4 to 10 inches of positive ease, I'm getting 11. And as I was blocking, I was taking measurements to make sure, since this is a test knit, I have to give the feedback on the measurements. I got the exact measurements that Alicia called for, so I should have that 11-inch. I tried it on and it doesn't feel baggy at all. Like 11-inch sounds like a lot, but I think it's just perfect for me. It hits me right, like it's not a long top, it's not a crop, like it hits me by my natural waist, I think. I always get confused what the natural waist is, and then there's the waistline, but like the top of my jeans, a little bit below the top of my jeans. If I don't wear high-waisted, I always wear high-waisted though. And so I did the size 3. I have notes here so to make sure that I mention everything. I started at 11 on November 25th and I finished it January 13th. So almost exactly 7 weeks, and I knitted on other things throughout. I think this is a great first time sweater pattern. Alicia's patterns are written really well, and there wasn't anything too crazy in this sweater. It's a raglan. The only thing is picking up the collar, but it's a good practice to pick up stitches. So in the sweater, I think a lot of them call for picking up. And it's a double folded. So I haven't done that before, so that was nice to learn a new technique. There were 2 different methods given on how to do it, and I knitted my length, and then I bound off with the stitches down here, and it gave me this edge, and I really like it. There was no sewing involved, so I like that part. And yeah, the bind offs. I believe for the sleeves, I'm not sure exactly. She calls for 2 different bind offs, one for the sleeves and then a different one for the body. And I'm gonna bring that up in the notes. I'm not sure why, but I did that. I'm trying to think which one I did first. This one. So that was Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. I was a little worried of doing a stretchy bind off on my hem because I don't want it to flare, but it did not. So I don't think it flared. It looks neat. And yeah, it looks really neat, I think. It looks just like these. And then for the sleeves, I did a sewn bind off. There has been a lot of talks in podcasts. I've heard a lot of people mention this, especially Nora also known as Nora Knits, and Mari, I'm sorry if I don't say your name right, Mari, from the Colorado Knitter. They say stretchy bind off, but then sometimes they call it the Italian sewn bind off. I don't know what the difference. And then there's the tubular cast off. And before I get into that, they talk about if it's 2x2 rib, you have to separate the knits and the purls and on 2 different needles for the tubular cast on. I don't know if you also have to do that for the Italian sewn bind off. I don't know what the difference is between tubular and Italian sewn bind off. And then there's the sewn bind off. So this is a 2x2 rib. I didn't do anything special. There was no extra knitting, which I believe is in the tubular. I've never did a tubular bind off, cast on or bind off. I've tried doing a cast on a sweater. It was for test knit actually, and it was a total disaster. And I ended up asking if I could do a long tail cast on instead, which I did. I think I need to practice on like a hat or something with a small circumference, but I haven't done that yet. So the sewn bind off, there was nothing special to it. I just, I think I got my tutorial from Jared Flood. I'm pretty sure. It's just, you take 3 times your circumference, and then you take a tapestry needle, and you go into the first one, you don't pull it off the needle, and then you go through 2 and you pull 1 off the needle, and you keep doing that. I believe there's when you go in as to purl, one's to knit, so watch a tutorial. But there was no extra setup or anything like that, so this is what it looks like. I do like the Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. Looks neater to me than this one, but this just looks like they're all purls pretty much, even the knits. So I don't know what the Italian sewn bind off is because I'm guessing it's not the sewn bind off that I did. But if you know, please leave a comment below. I've been hearing a lot of people mention it, and I need to look into it. Sounds interesting. But so those are the bind offs, and yeah, I'm not sure what the release date is yet. I haven't been in the Ravelry group in a little bit to check if there has been any updates on it, but all I have left is take pretty pictures. So there's my Noro test. And I will, once the pattern gets released, it will come back. This is not the last time you see it. I will have it on and show you guys what it looks like on. I just want to wait until it gets released. So then if you really like how it looks on me, you can go and buy the pattern. All right, on to my one whip. It's the same whip as last week, Sommernacht, and I can't pronounce the designer's name, so I'm sorry. It's gonna be definitely down in the description below. But I was trying to finish this before my new cast on, but I didn't get to it because I had to do a lot of frogging. So this is where I was last time, where this little mushroom is, which is by Tiny Planet. I'm pretty sure it's, oh no, that doesn't sound right. I think it's Tiny Planet. But she hasn't released any new in a while. And I did this. I'm on the last lace row again because I had to unknit it because of this marker right there. So I can't really show it all on my needles. It's bunched at this point. But it's not difficult. I just keep having little mistakes in my lace rows below or something. So here I'm missing a yarn over. So I have to pick that up. I knitted the whole row and then I was off at the end. And I didn't know why, so I had to unknit and then realize I missed a yarn over right there. So I'll just pick up the yarn over from below. The lace row before that, I was really off. I was off like 6 stitches or something. There's a section where you you do something with yarn overs and you do it so many times. I did one yarn over and I moved on. Like, it's literally like yarn over knit for so many times, and I did a yarn over and then I went to a knit two together. I have no idea what I was thinking. It's not difficult. It's definitely beginner friendly. Like, this is just garter and then the lace is just SSKs, yarn over, knit two together. There's nothing extraordinary in there. And then you do that for so many times and then garter and then do the exact same lace again and then you do a garter border. So I only have 9 rows left, but they take me forever. But I only have one more lace, one more purl row, and then a few the garter border. So it's garter, so it's just knit. But I'm a little bit behind on my next start. So I'm using Kremke Soul Wool Lazy Linen. It's a Belgium yarn, and I don't know what color. Color 007. Oh, that's right. I made a 007 joke last time I showed this. So 80% wool and I believe 20% linen. Yes. But that's it. I believe I got that from Mother Pearl Yarns. Is that a store? A store in Maine. I ordered online from them. And my beautiful Boku bag that is covered in dog fur. I don't have a dog. My sister got a new dog and he's white and he sheds a lot. So, and this bag went to her house. Oh my god, the inside is all covered in his fur. So Here's my new start. It's this bag is awesome. It's like a purse, but I've been using it for bigger projects. I had my neuro test in here towards the end, and yeah, I used to use it as a purse, but then I got my Jenna Rose purse, so now I'm using this as a project bag. I am test knitting the Woodhaven pullover by Tiff Nealon. I've never test knitted for her before, and I've been following her. I don't know if I mentioned before, I found her and basically like put all her patterns in my my queue, my Ravelry queue. That's what I use for like favorites. And when she asked for a test knit and I was just about to finish the Noro, I was like, yes, please, me. And it's a little bit of a shorter deadline for me than the Noro test was, and that took me 7 weeks in air and weight. This is a decay gauge, and I needed yarn, so I'm about a week behind from when I got into the test because I had to wait for my yarn. So again, I went with a more budget-friendly yarn since I needed the yarn quick. And where's the other tag? There. I'm using Knit Picks Hawthorne fingering in Jupiter Speckle and Slaptown. This is the Jupiter. It's 80% superwash, fine Highland wool, and 20% polyamide. And yes, fingering, but decay gauge because you hold them together. So I just started this not too long ago, on Friday, because that's when the yarn came. I immediately wound the yarn and cast this on. So this is how far I am. This is the back. I was a little nervous about these bright orange speckles. I think I saw the purple and was like, oh, these go with this yarn, that I ignored the orange. But anyway, so you hold it double, and it's an interesting construction for sure. So started with the back, did the back yoke, this, and it's curling. Sorry for the needles clunking. Oh, it's too long of a cable. So I did all this. It's rolling. And then I started the front. So I finished, sorry, the needle. I finished the front left shoulder, and I'm currently shaping the front right shoulder, and then, yeah, hopefully finish the front yoke by, at least do a good dent by tonight. But yeah, I'm excited for this. It looks really nice, and I actually didn't notice the eyelets right here in the picture until I got to the pattern and it said to do them. I was like, oh, and I went back to the picture and I saw it. But it's very squishy. Again, I didn't do a gauge swatch. I know, horrible tester. Should always do a gauge swatch when you're testing, and especially I've never knitted from her. But, oh, let me show you my yarns. So, that's the Jupiter. They're smaller because I only have one skein, so I cut the skein in half. So I wound it once, and then I had the ball sitting on my scale as I was winding. And then that's the Slaptown. And they're very messy because I'm center pulling. I typically pull from the outside, but because I'm holding two together, it would just tangle. That's it for my knitting. But I cross-stitched. Yes. My mojo's not back. I'm trying to force it back. It's not back. But I pulled out my favorite whip, hoping it would spark my mojo. it didn't. I only knitted. I only stitched on it for one evening for not very long. So it's the Lunar Witch by Autumn Lane. And I had to frog a bunch, so that was not a good start. To try and get your mojo back, and then you have to frog. But here it is. I did this part, and I had to frog, I think, this whole brand, something in there that I already restitched. But yeah, I just did this. Now seeing it, I want to stitch again, so hopefully. But I'm also completely bitten by the test knitting bug. I just want to test everything. So many more tests have been thrown at me, but their timelines were really short. Like some of them were like a week, and I cannot commit to that at all. So right now I want to keep it one test at a time, but maybe my stitching bug is coming back. This is all the called for DMC, and the called for fabric is Earthen by, why is my needle like this? By Picture This Plus, 25 count Lugana. Forgot the verbiage. That's not 25 count. What am I talking about? 28 count. 28 count Lugana. They called for linen, but it was never in stock. So, yep, maybe my stitching will come back. And I keep that in the bag that Mary Ashcraft made me. Who her her stitching bug, I think, is coming back, so that's all I have for this week. I did miss 2 weeks, and I was so excited to jump in. I didn't even say I live in a suburb of Phoenix with my 3 kids and my husband. I just was so excited to show the neuro. But I missed 2 weeks ago because I had just come back from Disneyland, and we were there from Monday through Friday. It was my mom, my daughter Cheyenne, and her best friend. Cheyenne turned 10, and that was her birthday present. So I had started a sock. I had knitted the cuff, and then I knitted at a Haunted Mansion line, and it's a Small World line. That's it. And I did like 5 rounds. And then when I got home, I decided the yarn wasn't right for that type of sock. Or for any sock really. It was really thin and splitty. So I frogged it. So I don't have that to show at all. Disneyland was awesome. It was our first time. We went 2 days to Disneyland and then 1 day to California Adventures. And it was amazing. We had beautiful weather. The kids did awesome food, awesome rides. Everything was great. And so when I came back, I had nothing to show for knitting because the week before I had I released while I was at Disneyland what I have knitted in 2023, and the week before that, before I went to Disney, I did a little bit of knitting, but if I only have 1 week worth of knitting to show, it's not enough. And yeah, the week in Disneyland, I had nothing to show for because I frogged it, so I skipped that week. And then last weekend, my husband was out of town for work, and I was beat by the end of the night, just with being a single parent for a day, literally. He left 1 day and came back the next day. Plus nobody was in there with Oliver, so I would have had to get up if he cried or anything, so I just skipped that week. So here we are, nothing too exciting to talk about, but I'll try and put some pictures or little videos, maybe right here, where I celebrated my friend's birthday, and we went to a restaurant and had amazing brunch, and then we went and toured a chateau that is local to us that had some interesting history and interesting architecture. But that's all I have. So I'm not sure what a special video I'm going to record next week, but I'm hoping to be back next week with a special video, and then in 2 weeks with my regular podcast. Bye.